What's a rocket duster? Come find out. Supplies are in the description below. Hi everyone, Corinne here, and today we are going to paint a vase with some flowers, and I'm going to show you how to make those flowers with a rocket duster. So first I'm going to just grab a little bit of ink on my brush, not much at all, and I'm going to sketch out my vase. I want it to be off center a little bit. And so let's just sketch that in. You can either do this along with me, or you can feel free to watch the video, which is sometimes easier, and then do it by yourself. So let's just sketch that in. I want mine to be kind of rounded, I think. And I want to leave room for my flowers, so I don't want it to be too big. So that seems to be a pleasing shape. And now I'm going to grab a little bit more alcohol on my brush and a little bit of that Meadow ink, and I'm going to come through. My light's going to be coming from the left, so the right side of my vase will be darker. I'm just going to follow the lines that I sketched in. Now I have less ink on my brush because I've already done the right hand side, so I can get in here and make the left pretty light. And I'm really just letting that ink kind of do its own thing and create its own design. Very carefully at the bottom there. So let's add some other colors in, because the light's coming from this side. A little bit more alcohol. I want that to move a little bit more. Don't be afraid to let it move. I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to keep just dabbing at that, and maybe I'll add a little bit of bottle down in here, just a little, and I'm going to let the inks kind of dry on their own. A little bit of Meadow again. Let's let them dry on their own and see what we get. I'm going to have to just redo my line a little bit because my inks have moved, and that's okay. Our vase will just get a little bit bigger, and I'll redo this side a little. And again, if it gets a little bigger, it's okay. I just want that movement though to come out to the edge on both sides. And now I'm going to just fix the bottom. And let's just get our line back on the top. So I'm trying to make it look like it's kind of a piece of pottery. I can take my rocket duster and I can blow that ink and dry it off and see what I have before I decide where my second coat needs to go. Okay, so let's get a little bit more color going in here. Again, let's stay away from the edge a bit. I am using the Limeade now, just dabbing in a little bit of color and blow. And now I can get some really interesting patterns. And I'll go back, grab a little bit of alcohol, go back into the Meadow, and let's get some of that going. And use our rocket duster, get some more interesting shapes in there. And let's see, because we're going to have a reflection on this side, let's go back into our Limeade a little bit. We probably need just a little bit of alcohol to move that. Notice I'm not getting the alcohol near the edge of here. And we'll just blow that again. All right. And let's get a little bit of color in the top. And so we'll go grab a little alcohol, go back into our Meadow, and get the middle of this done. And we'll blow that ink. And we'll let that dry and see what we get. Okay, so we have our vase done, and it's time to figure out our flower place. And so I'm going to use 2 different color reds. I'm going to use this red pepper and watermelon because we want to have a little bit of variation. And I may add some yellow. So I have this in my palette, and my brush is nice and clean. And I really just have to think about where are these flowers going to go. And I do need to have an odd number, right? Because the eye finds an odd number more pleasing. So I'm just going to grab a tiny bit of ink on my brush, green, and going to think about where that placement of those flowers is going to go. I think I'm going to have one up in here and maybe one here, one here. Maybe we'll have one drooping over and one up here. So I've got some little teeny tiny spots on my paper. It might be hard for you to see. Let me just do those in watermelon so you can actually see where I have those spots. I'm going to do one here, maybe one over there, one up in here, one up in there, and maybe one hanging down there. So now I have a sense of where the placement of my flowers are going to go. Which flower is going to be my focal point? It'll be this one. And so this will be the biggest flower that I make. And it will be the one that's in front the most. So I'm going to start with the other flowers and then come back and do this one. So I'm going to start by using a little bit, this is on the shadow side, so I'm going to start with a little bit of red pepper. And I'm going to drop a little bit of that ink, kind of in a petal shape. And then I'm going to blow that ink. And be careful how I blow it, but I want to make a petal. And so now I've got a little petal going. And so I'm going to get my brush with some alcohol and a little bit more of that red pepper. And now I'm going to add, and you can see it's very wet, but it's okay. These are free-form flowers. And now I'm going to blow the next one. And I want another petal about in here, and I'll put that shape in, and so I'll blow that. And so these are abstract flowers, and we're going to need to get some light in there. So I'm going to just get some alcohol going, and I'm going to blow, and we'll get some light in that petal. And so there we have our first flower. We can continue to add light by just adding some alcohol and pushing it back. Adding some alcohol and blowing from the edge of the petal back in. I don't know what kind of flowers these are. They're just kind of free-form abstract flowers, which are fun. I'm going to go into my watermelon now. And since I have this basic pattern on my flowers, I'm going to try to kind of keep that. And we'll just blow that one around. Get that started. And maybe this one's coming this way. And so we'll blow that. Maybe it's got a petal this way, and so we'll blow that one. That's kind of pretty. And while I'm at it, I think we'll go up here. We can always change the shape of our flowers as we go along, so let's get a little more watermelon and get it in here and get started. And we'll just blow that. Grab a little bit of alcohol on my brush. I think I have enough ink in there, and so blow that, and let's get it on this side too. These are starting to look like poppies, which of course is my favorite flowers to paint, so I'm not surprised. We'll get a little more ink and alcohol in this area, make that, there we go, make that petal a little bit lighter. Let's just change the shape up here. So we're basically, there we go, basically putting these in, and then, so we're doing our basic flower shape, but then we're definitely helping that along with the blower. Maybe this one has a little petal out there. Okay, I'm going to come over and do this one on this side, the left. I have to turn my paper a little bit because I always want to blow my ink in the direction I want it to go in. And so it will be easier if you turn your paper. And so there's one petal. Maybe this flower is facing out this way. So let me do the center petal. And I'm going to grab a little more ink, this time a little red pepper because it's the bottom, a little more alcohol. And we'll blow that a little bit. All right, so let's see what we have. I don't want all the flowers facing the same way, and I have an opportunity now to change them before I do my middle flower here. And so let's just move this one out so it's facing this way. We've got more facing that way. And maybe it's overlapping that other one a little bit. Okay, now our middle flower can be the same color, or we can change colors a little bit so that it is truly the focal point in the picture. And so let's start with a base of cleaning my brush really well. I don't want to get my inks all messed up in terms of color. So let's just start with a base of yellow. And we'll blow that out there. I'm kind of liking this. I'm going to continue as if this flower is open. Just pushing petals out, pulling them back if I need to. Right, but this is a pretty big flower because it is our middle one. And I'll get some more dandelion and we'll put it over here. And I'm going to let it mix because this isn't abstract. If it mixes with what's behind it, it's okay. And let's get a little more dandelion. Again, I'm turning this around on purpose. And we're going to blow as if we have an open flower here. So let's see what we have, and we just have to do this last one. So again, this is going to go down into the green a little bit. We'll see what happens with that. We can always clean it out if we need to. So just a little though, because if we look at this, let's turn it around one more time. We have the shorter petal on the bottom, right? Okay, so do we have enough color in this? This flower is definitely facing this way. And that is really beautiful. And so now let's put in some stems and leaves. So you can either continue using the number 8 round brush, or you can go to a smaller one for stems and leaves. So I'm going to go to a number 0, just a teeny tiny liner brush. And we have to connect these flowers. And so we'll just connect this here, just dabbing a little green in. And this one is kind of coming out of there, so we don't really have anything. We have a little green here, a little green here. So we just start to connect these. And we do want to create some leaves, right? And so where would we want to leave? I'm thinking in here. So I'll just dab some ink there so I know where I'm going. And then I'll grab, that's the light side of my painting. So why don't we get some Limeade, and we'll just stick some Limeade, a little bit of Limeade where we have that alcohol laid out. And so we get a little leaf going in there. It just needs to be leaf shape. It doesn't need to be a drawn leaf, and we'll dry that a little bit, and that's kind of fun. And I'll get a little bit more Limeade. I think I want a leaf coming down in here. And so since it's on the bottom, and again, I'm going to turn my paper because we're going to blow in the direction that we want the ink to go. I'm going to kind of this two-tone leaf going here. Let's just see if we can get that. There we go. And let's turn it around and see what we have. We always need 3 of everything. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flowers. 1, 2. Need another leaf, maybe a small one though, right in here. And I had enough ink on my brush that I really didn't need to put any more on. And just want to make sure this is balanced. And maybe there's a little greenery of some sort coming out here. It doesn't have to be a leaf. And maybe we've got a little bit of coming here. Let's put a little squiggle up in there. Maybe something's coming out there. So just using the very tip of my brush, turn this around and create something fun around it. We have the center of this flower to do, and for that I am going to use some black, so pitch black ink, and I'll come in here and just fill in the center. This is the focal point. And so just carefully fill that in. And then I'm going to clean my brush and just create some lightness in this side. And let's make it look a little rounded so it's not flat. Okay. Then I'm going to come back in with a little black. So I went a little bit further than I really wanted. But the light's coming from this way. All right, I could add another color in here and just try to give it just a little bit more oomph. Or I can leave it. Now I'm all about color, so if I was going to add some color, I've got some Aquamarine in the palette, and you know, maybe I've got some kind of little things in here or in here, just a little something going on, and maybe a little bit here. I don't know what they are. It's just a little kind of flower of some sort. Maybe there's a little one coming down here. I'm just using just use the very tip of your brush to do this. So we're just adding a little bit more color and kind of framing out that middle flower. And come in here and frame it. We're framing the whole thing out. All right, and now we need to do a table. All right, so it can't be sitting. It used to sit on something. It doesn't have to be straight. It could be like it's sitting here. But let's just get a little bit of ink. We have a little bit of Aquamarine here on our brush still. We can get a little bit more maybe, but we don't want a lot. So I just put a dab down and get some alcohol on my brush. And I'm just going to carefully go around here. A little bit more. Now I've got a shadow, right? I've got a shadow coming. And so as I come around this side, I have to think about my shadow. And so I've got shadow here, comes right under there and right around. And so now I have the shadow from my vase. Okay, so we can take a look at this, see where we are. And we're done. We have a simple vase of flowers done with the brush and a rocket duster. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd love to see your vase of flowers. Like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell to be notified of future videos. Happy inking!